Hi guys, and welcome to the Webseries Digest, episode 4, Funding. My guests today, I'm Sara, and my guests today are...
I'm Jules. I did the web series, 12th Grade or whatever. I did Uncanny Upshurs. I did the Emma Agenda. Did some other stuff. Yeah.
And I'm Daisy. I made School Spirit and possible upcoming summer projects pending.
Cool. Okay, so like I said, today we're going to talk a little bit about funding. Disclaimer on this episode, I think we've all basically done lovingly no-budget web series, especially Daisy.
Lord.
I think Daisy is the most no-budget of us all. But, so we're going to talk a little bit about funding sources. We're going to talk a little bit about what you should be spending money on. But just straight up, I want to say, as we start this podcast, you're not going to be, you're probably going to mostly be spending money out of your own pocket, unless you get very, very lucky.
Or Christmas presents.
Yeah, Christmas presents. So let's start with, kind of make an estimate of how much money you spent on your web series. I'm not looking for, I'm looking for estimates. I'm not looking for, a number. So, Daisy, if you'd like to go, how much do you think you spent on your web series?
$80 for Christmas presents of soft boxes. That's it. All my props were food under my meal plan, and then the camera I borrowed from my school.
Nice. For
right,
me,
Jules.
like $2,000 maybe?
Total
Like,
or
all
by
of
project?
Them. All of them.
Okay. Could you do a little bit of a project-by-project breakdown?
Okay, so, I've used the same camera for the past 3 projects. So I don't really know I'm counting that generally, and that camera was $500 total.
Mm-hmm.
And then, my lights, which I've also used for all my projects, were $100. Trying to think. I did an Indiegogo for the Uncanny. I'm not sure if you're counting that personally. Just money in general, or money specifically from you?
Money in general.
Okay, because the Uncanny Upshurs Indiegogo, we raised $1,000. We ended up getting $850 of it because Indiegogo takes. So it's probably more than that. I'm not trashing Indiegogo. Yeah, and that, I didn't really spend any of that money. That mostly went in the British side of the production. And then, there's just been, some location rentals I've spent some money on. There have been, some props I've spent money on. Some other, random equipment. But besides that, yeah, I'd say about $2,000.
Okay. I'm not really sure how much money Taj Wash. I'd say probably somewhere in the $1,000 mark, but across 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Hamlet, I have no idea how much money was spent on that because I did no money on that. I know a significant chunk of money went towards makeup. I'd say there was probably about $50 worth of makeup purchased that I was using on both Shannon and Elliot. I don't know so much other things. I'd probably say around somewhere in the $500 mark for that. Unless we count the Airbnbs we rented out when we stayed in Tallahassee. That's also... I don't know. And then Eddie Rex... probably only a few $100s was spent on Eddie Rex, if that.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Rex was the cheapest project we ever made.
And it was also the shortest, so that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I think mostly was food for actors, if anything. So I guess we're kind of talking, because I just kind of want to be I want to go from there to kind of be funding, how much money you should expect to spend on a project. And I think it really depends on how much equipment you have when you start and how long the project is running. And, I mean, it's pretty varies on project by project.
Yeah, also, it depends on, like, how much you can do yourself. Like, how much you need to hire people for.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if you can't edit at all and you need to hire someone to edit for you, that's going to be a significantly larger amount of money than if you were editing yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're doing a vlog style where it's only in your dorm's room, you're going to be spending much, much less money than you're going to be spending if you're doing traditional.
Yeah, there's no one typical budget.
No.
It's there's no magic number we can pull from the air and say, this is what you need to make a show.
No, there isn't. I'm saying just kind of from what I'm thinking of right now, probably the ballpark number we can use for the purpose of this podcast would be, you'd probably want somewhere around $500. That's for the people listening. Yeah, we don't know what kind of show we're making. We don't know what kind of equipment you have or don't have. We don't know if you're going to need to pony up travel money. You're definitely going to need to feed your actors. I mean, Daisy has mentioned in previous episodes she didn't feed her actors, but it's good to feed your actors.
I didn't feed my actors either.
When you're not feed your actors, guys.
I'm a mess.
Unless they have a meal plan.
It's true. That's
they pay for.
Yeah, that I excuse you because you were filming on a college campus and you guys had meal plans. Because
the thing is, my filming sessions have always been really short. Like, I've never done, like, a day entirely filming. Mm-hmm. So it's just never really, like, come to mind that, like, that would be a thing that would be necessary. Like, it's always been, like, between meals. It's never been, like, a really long period of time.
Yeah, and I also kind of feel like you might also just have, like, snacky stuff maybe around that if, like, an actor is hungry, you're willing to offer. Like, that happened on the set of Taj Watch, too. We just also had longer shoots where we pulled for pizza, and I know during Eddie Rex, pizza was purchased and some other stuff. So, I mean, that was a little off topic, but, like, assume that you're going to be feeding your actors. So let's just, for the purpose of the podcast, we'll say you'll want around $500 to make your web series. Potentially less, potentially more, depending on what kind of series you're making. So then let's kind of talk. Crowdfunding was really popular in the beginning for web series, and there were several that were really successful. But since then, I think there's been just crowdfunding in general has really stopped being so popular.
I don't know. I see a lot of campaigns these days.
Maybe there's just so many that I just don't see them advertised.
Maybe.
Like, I'd believe that. Like, the market has just become so oversaturated. It's hard to find, like, the one, you know? So I definitely be like, you know, put up a crowdfunding, you know, put up an Indiegogo or whatever if you want to. But just recognize you're probably not going to make near the amount of money that you will want, that you're advertising for wanting.
Especially if, like, you haven't made anything before. Like, if this is the first thing. Or if it's or if it's like the first season of something. I think that second seasons, there's a whole, like, thing, like, how much harder it is to make a second season. People will talk about, but I think that you are more likely to get people to donate if they know what you've done.
Yeah. If you look at the Taj Watch Indiegogos, I think we did Indiegogos, I can't remember, because Shannon was in charge of that. It looks like we made more money for the first season than the second season, but what actually happened was that in the first season, her parents donated money, and then the second season they didn't, because they were just like, Shannon, you're just going to use our money anyway, we're not going to kick in any donations. But we actually got more outside funding for the second season, definitely. And I think we made about $800 total across our crowdfunding. It was definitely less than like $1,000 for the 2 seasons. Whenever I talk about Taj Watch, like, please remember it was 2 seasons. In terms of,
which is practically like 2 different shows, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
and
it's
they were
very different.
Really, really, like, lots of footage, lots of stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, crowdfunding is an option. I don't know. It's a lot of work, and you don't get a lot of money out of it. I mean, you can. There's the web series that have all made like a ridiculous amount of money have always had like really either have had someone famous behind them, or they've made another project, or that was wildly successful, or you know, they're just really well marketed or whatever. So you can't expect.
I just found the Tajwa season 2 Indiegogo.
Oh, nice. How much did we make?
You raised $287.
Okay, that's right. That's about right. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking we made like $200 in for the second season, and then the first season we clocked in around like $500 or something. But that's because Shannon's parents put in like $250.
Yeah.
Because I remembered it evened out to like almost the same amount that we earned across, and like maybe even slightly more for season 2. Anyway, so that's crowdfunding. I also wanted to talk about grants a little bit, which I know basically nothing about. I will say
I don't know anything about them either.
I meant to do research before I got on this episode, and I didn't.
I've looked at some, but they've always felt like they were for people bigger than me, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, for sure. I believe that.
Like it's always seemed like if I applied, I wouldn't get it.
I mean, you can still apply. It's just one of those things where it's like you shouldn't count on grant. Like, you can be like, oh, I'll apply for these things, but you can't count on them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't budget for
I know. Yeah, exactly. Like, don't include that in your budget. Like, it would be a really nice thing if you got it. And it also might be, like, something like, you know, you might get it for a specific show, but by the time they dole the grant money out, you might be done filming. I know those things can take a while. The one, like, web series that I know that used a grant was Star Kids' Little White Lie, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
They got some kind of, like, $10,000 grant or something. I think it was from Disney to make that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I remember that being out, because I remember some people were like, will there ever be a season 2 of Little White Lie? And they were like, well, we basically only made it, we made it because we got this gigantic grant from Disney, and then as part of some program or other, so we don't have money to make it because we didn't get that grant again, and then also everyone is all over the country and is gone forever, and we can never make it again. Also, Darren Criss became famous.
Yeah.
So, like, what can we do?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the All for One Indiegogo that ran recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what it was is they had to raise a certain amount of money to get this other grant. So they had to, like, combine their Indiegogo and their, like, they'd have to, like, show, we raised this amount of money from fans in order to get the grant that they were looking for.
Huh.
And that's
weird.
It seems like a lot of, I honestly don't know. I mean, All for One is a way more professional production than stuff I've worked on, but it was a lot of money they raised just from the Indiegogo.
Yeah, and I also kind of feel like if you did manage to get a grant, that would definitely, like, elevate your production.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's a smaller production, if you were able to get even, like, a $500 woman filmmaker grant, because I know those exist. I've seen lists of them before. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you have the time on your hands, and you are, like, because there's, like, an art to writing, like, the papers and stuff for that. Like, there's
proposals. Grant proposals. It's tedious. It is terrible, but you can do it.
Yeah, there's people whose entire jobs are just writing grant proposals.
I had to write a fake one for my documentary, and it was, whew.
Yeah. Oof. So, but it's like, if you're willing to put in the time to do it, and you find one, it's like, you know, when you're, like, in high school, and everyone was like, go for these, like, random, tiny scholarships that no one else is going to go for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're able to do something like that for grants, like, I think you could.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what the Candle Wasters used? Because they got money from the Arts Council.
There's, like, something in New Zealand that, like...
Yeah.
Directly funds web series. Like... But there isn't really that in America, so I don't really know.
I mean, there's the National Endowment for the Arts, which
locally.
is our equivalent. And that's slashed
and
cut and goes to huge things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might be able to find something local. You might be able to find something at your school. If you go to, like, an art school or something, someone that provides funding for students. I didn't go to one of those schools, so I wouldn't know, but they could exist. You might find your own personal Jeffrey Mandel, who you tell you're doing a project, and he gives you $100 in cash, and is like, here you guys go.
Shout out to Jeffrey Mandel. I've never met him, but I love him.
He's so good. Jules, hopefully at some point, like, you'll come and visit, and he'll be in town, and we can introduce you guys.
I feel like I know him.
He's a sweetie pie. I love him. He's so good. Anyway, but yeah, so, like, you know, do your research, basically, which I didn't do before I made this podcast. I'm so sorry to the people listening. All 2 of you. Maybe 3. Maybe I can convince my very good, in real life, best friend Isabel to listen to this, because she loves me, even though she has no
Hi, Isabel.
If she's listening, hey, Isabel, I miss you. I actually got to see her recently, so that was nice. Okay, that's off topic. So then, yeah, so basically what this is all boiling down to is you're probably going to be spending most of your money out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So budget accordingly. Yeah. You don't make web series to make money, kids.
No.
And
you make it because you love it.
It's a labor of love. And don't let production quality keep you from making the show.
God, yeah, no. You're not going to have a professional production quality. You're not going to. Like, don't get caught up on that. You're just not. Like,
if you're passionate about what you wrote and what you want to make, then just creating it is payoff enough, you know?
Yeah.
Just having it being out there is great.
Because, I mean, you could like, if you really want to go for that production quality, you're going to be spending a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying that, I mean, it's just, you're going to. Like, even if you rent all of the equipment, but you're still going to have to find people that can run that equipment and can do it, you know, professional. Because it's not just having the equipment. It's having people who know how to run it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I talk about this wonderful movie called The Room.
God bless.
Which everyone should see at some point in their life, if only to know how a movie should not be made. And there's basically 2 things that you should take away from the making of The Room. Actually, there's so many things that you can take away from the making of The Room. For the purposes of this podcast, there's 2 things. There is, you never buy all of your equipment. You will spend so much money. And all of your equipment will be outdated within a few years. I'm talking on a professional level.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, on a lower level, you could probably get a DSLR for, what, Jules? You said you spent like $500 on your camera?
Yeah, like including the lens.
Yeah, so you get a DSLR for $500, and it would last you several projects, and that would be like a good camera. And it would last you. Like, if you are, like, planning on majoring in something creative, or you're planning on making multiple web series, or, like, you've already made one and you're like, oh, this would be a really good time for me to invest in a camera, like, go for it. I'm not saying don't buy equipment. I'm talking just more on a professional level. Like, if you basically don't, for your first project, go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff, because you don't know if you're going to hate making a web series or not.
Yeah.
I think is another thing I'm trying to say. Because, yeah, don't go buy that $80 softbox and those $200 lights and the $500 camera and the $100 microphone, and then get halfway through your project and be like, I never want to do this ever again.
Mm-hmm.
And mean it, and actually mean it. Because you're going to have that point at some point in your project. Yeah, this is kind of be kind of a weird podcast episode, guys.
It's a tough time.
All of us are just kind of like funding. Yeah, like funding is not fun to talk about.
It's not. Nobody wants
and
to talk
it's not.
money.
I don't really know. No one does. But yeah. I've kind of lost track of what I was saying.
2 things you should learn about The Room.
Yeah. Okay, from The Room is don't buy your equipment for your first project, because you don't know if you're going to be making another film, and it might become outdated in a few years anyway. Professionally, everyone rents. Unprofessionally, just find a friend that has a camera, or get one from your school like Daisy did. Again, until you've done at least one project and you're like, oh, okay, I want to spend some good money and get another one. Shannon and I got lucky. Shannon's father works in the media, so he gives her his old hand-me-downs. So, both of her cameras are from her dad. So we never spent any money on a camera. You might get lucky like that. I mean, if you really want to buy one, I mean, check eBay, check Amazon.
Yeah, I bought my camera on eBay. I bought it used. I didn't buy it new.
Craigslist. I was like, what am I also thinking of? Craigslist. Wait for Black Friday sales. Mm-hmm. If you're willing to wait that long, because like Black Friday sales on electronics are no joke. Compared to like sales, like it's like electronics and Black Friday, from my understanding of Black Friday. Not that I do a lot of Black Friday shopping. That's like the time to buy electronics, because they're usually crazy discounted compared to what normal discounts are. Not that I do a lot of Black Friday shopping. Anyway, continuing. So, that's that. Going back to that $500 budget, I guess I'd say that $500 budget assumes that you are borrowing equipment, or you already have equipment that you can use. Because even renting would blow, I think, that $500 right away.
Yeah.
That's my thought, at least.
Don't be afraid to ask around. You never know who might have something.
Yeah, we were lucky enough, like, again, me and Shannon, we were lucky enough to be in a film club where everyone had, like, one piece of equipment. So if we were all on set together, we had a full set of equipment. Mm-hmm. So, see if there's something like that on your campus. Even that being said, don't show up at a film club and be like, hey, I want to make this project, without having ever put your time in on any other projects. Like, that's really rude.
Even at high schools, if, like, they have an AV department, if you say, hey, I'll volunteer or whatever, they usually have something you can use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you can join that class or whatever. The AV department at my school was not good.
Yeah, your mileage may vary, but
depends on your school. Yeah, because my school, that was the class that all the jocks took because they didn't want to do anything else.
Yep.
Which is weird, because you feel like it should be the class that like all like the media kids would, like all like the the media nerds, or like the film nerds would want to take. No, all the jocks were in that class. It was weird.
Yeah, I say that, and now I'm just realizing that my high school didn't have that, because my brother was trying to photograph and take video of the football game, but they didn't have a camera, so he had to use his iPad duct taped to a gorilla tripod, duct taped to a tripod.
Oh my
because
God.
my school didn't have any cameras. Life is fun.
I love it.
He found a way.
So that it stops being just me talking, and we make this more of a group podcast situation. I guess, Daisy, especially since you were probably the lowest budget of all of us, if you had a budget, what would you have spent it on?
It's weird. It's weird. I haven't even thought of this whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a lighting nerd, so all my money went towards lighting. But other than that, I would have liked a higher quality microphone. The ones I had access to were not made for the kind of filming I was doing, because they are made for giant arena style stuff, so it picked up every tiny little sound. And then I would have liked to pay my actors. They were great. But that's me having all of my bare minimum equipment covered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I don't know, if I could pay crew, that would be great, because I didn't have any crew whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Jules, you had money. But if you had more money, let's say unlimited, aka professional level budget, what would you have wanted to spend more money on?
Pay people to be there. Because you should know, if you're not paying actors to be there, you're not going to be their first priority.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if they're really into the project, if they're not getting paid, they're going to take, like, a family thing first or, like, a paying job first. You're not going to be their priority if you're not paying them. That's just a fact.
Mm-hmm. And in our actors episode, which is coming out after this, we talked a little bit about paying actors, and I, kind of talked about the good and the bad of paying actors.
Mm-hmm.
That episode is coming out. That's episode 6, so it's coming out 2 episodes from this episode.
Yeah.
So, not to cut you off, but to be like, we talked about that in another episode.
Okay, and then also, just like if I have the camera and the lights and stuff already, I think one thing I'd really want to work more on in the future is production design.
Mm-hmm.
Just like making everything look good.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, first of all, I've always filmed things in my family home. So I haven't had the opportunity to, like, move things around that much or redecorate things. So I guess also, like, renting locations would be a plus.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think my next big expense is going to be Final Draft. So I can get that good formatting. But yeah, that's just me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess kind of breaking down what you should spend money on, I think your highest priority should be paying the people that you promised to pay. And then again, it's, if you're having longer shoots that are going to take up most of the day, feeding your actors, providing food for your actors. Then it should be, getting the equipment that you need to get, being it new microphone or lights, or just making sure that, maybe giving compensation for the people who you're borrowing those things from, mm-hmm. be it in food or be it in, that sort of thing. And then probably your next down should be, hello, there's a dog.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's a dog! I love dogs! Makes this kind of downer of a podcast better. And then I guess, then the next down, it's kind of a toss-up for me if your next funding should be, like, props or locations. I guess props for the purpose of our podcast, because I'm assuming that you would, like, if you're doing vlog style, you probably aren't going to have to go to other locations. And then locations. Like, just that breakdown. So, like, your top most should be compensating people. Then your second should be whatever equipment you need.
Mm-hmm.
Then your third mode should be props. And then your fourth mode should be locations.
Yeah.
So if you have, like, $500, like, break it down in that order. Like, how much money you'll need for this, how much money you'll need for that. I think that's I don't know. Can you guys think of anything else I might have missed in that kind of breakdown?
I can't really think of anything.
I know that really simplifies it, but,
yeah, if you're doing vlog style, you don't need any special software or anything.
No.
I mean, if you want to make it look nicer, you can.
Yeah, and that'd go into equipment, if you wanted to invest in Final Cut Pro or, soft boxes or whatever. Talked a little bit about food. I guess for props, the best thing you could do is just, have your script out, make a list of everything you need, and then hit up the dollar store.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dollar Tree is your best friend, at least if you're in the United States. I don't know if there's... Dollar Tree and Five Below. I've recently discovered Five Below, and Five Below is my new best friend.
Five Below is the greatest place on earth.
I got some, like, legit watercolors at Five Below. Like, in little squeezable metal tubes. You squeeze them out on a palette.
We use those in costume design class.
Yeah, like, legit ones. And I bought them, because they were only $5. And then a little plastic palette was $5. And my art journaling is about to get great, guys.
$5 for this emoji skirt.
Yeah. And, like, they have, like, makeup and stuff there, too. So, like, yeah. So hit up hit up Dollar Tree, hit up Five Below for props. If you need, look at like Michael's and Joann's because they always have sales.
And they always have coupons.
Always have coupons. So
ask the cashier for coupons.
Yeah. Coupon the heck out of it. Same for like when you're buying food, not to sound like a super cheapskate, but like down here in Florida, we've got like Publix is the big grocery store. And it's fairly cheap. There's BOGOs and stuff. But when I was like feeding a gigantic cast for my short film, I went to Aldi's, which is even cheaper. So like you'll know, like, where your big box grocery store is near you. And you can go there and you can pick up, like, a bunch of frozen pizzas or some, a bunch of bags of chips, off-brand bags of chips or whatever. Like...
And if you figure out a big cast, buy in bulk.
Yeah, exactly. Keep that, low. I think I had a really big cast on that film, but I still think I squeaked in under $100 for feeding all of them for one day. It's like a 6-hour shoot. I had a bunch of little kids, though, so I had to make sure I had a lot of food.
Mm-hmm.
They were all well fed on that shoot. So...
Can I just say, thinking back on it, I did feed my actors a lot because they'll be, like, sitting in my room being like, I'm hungry. And I would open up my snack drawer, and I'm like, please. And at one point, there's footage of Nicolette discovering my 12-pound bag of chocolate chips and going, well, that's me taken care of. And, yeah. So I did feed my actors somewhat. So, Sarah, you can't get too mad at me.
No, I'm not mad at you at all because, like you said, you had a meal plan.
Yeah.
So it's Jules I'm mad at. No, I'm not mad at you at all, Jules. No, but like I said, like, you don't even think about that because I think all of us at one point or another had a hungry actor and we just opened our pantries and we're like, okay,
yeah, we've
got Cheez-Its and Pringles and, we could make a frozen pizza if you want a frozen pizza. What would you like? We'll feed you. You're here out of the goodness of your heart and you're acting real.
We are eternally grateful. Please accept our firstborn, etc.
Yes, please accept the sacrifices of food. Yeah, I don't know if there's, like, much else to say about funding, except, like, expect you're gonna pay out of, like, a lot of stuff out of pocket, make a budget accordingly to what's most important in your production. Like, I gave a breakdown that I think is probably the breakdown for all productions. Props and locations, can be exchanged, because for some people it might be they have to get an Airbnb for 2 days in a row to film a sequence. So
don't
that
get
might
discouraged because of money.
No.
Because your production quality is probably not going to be what you want, but it's okay. My mantra all throughout pre-production for Soul Spirit was, it's my character's first time vlogging too. It's my character's first time editing. I mean, I'm off the hook here. So just like, take a deep breath. It'll be okay. Your audience is very forgiving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if all of your characters are, broke college students too.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a vlog style show, like, it's expected that you're not gonna have, like, a ton of stuff or really high production design. Like...
But then you get into this thing where, like, people tend not to watch, like, just visually human beings are, like, people have, like, gotten used to seeing things of higher production quality.
Yeah.
And therefore, their brains tell them that production quality equals good. And that's just the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Production quality
we don't want to discourage
is great to have.
First-time web series creators. And
better to have.
Mm-hmm.
But don't purposely make your show poor quality, please. That's what it boils down to.
Or don't, like, spend all of your money making a really good high production, like, make a really high production show and then, like, the story not be good.
Yeah.
Or your actors not be good because you couldn't get better actors because you put all of your money into a higher production quality, or whatever. you do you. Like, yeah, more people are gonna watch stuff that's higher production quality, but, like...
That's not why you're making the show, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I personally, when I watch web series, which I'm terrible, I don't watch a whole lot. I do watch some, but I don't watch a lot of them. I haven't watched a lot of, like, even some of, like, the really popular ones. But generally for me, lower production quality does not deter me. What can deter me is 3 exposition episodes in a row where I meet all of the characters and I'm just like, I can't, I'm done, I'm out. Save me. But
I mean, yeah, it depends on your viewer. And, like, I know I could watch a show that is filmed with a camera obscura, but as long as it's, a good story and a good source material that I enjoy, if it's a literary, then I'll watch it. But, like, I show some of my favorite shows to my siblings, and they're like, what? So, yeah.
So basically, like, the big point I wanted to come across in this episode is that your web series is not going to get funded, and that's okay.
Yeah. And that's okay.
I mean, it's going to get funded, but the funding is going to be your credit card, most likely, unless you happen to have a really, unless you happen to have a really good person running your Indiegogo, or you get a grant, which both of those things could happen.
Or an elderly patron, like...
Yep. Jeffrey Mandel.
We can
God
just
love him.
We can dream of a Catherine de Bourgh.
No, because she's terrible.
I know, but she gave money.
It's true. She funded. Well, let's be real. She ran the parish because she had to, and then she paid Collins because she had to have someone running the parish.
Fine.
So I don't know if
of
she would have considered herself his patron.
Another example of a wealthy literary patroness that I can't think of right now.
I can't think of any other better ones. You know what? I can think of one from Glee, of all things. Is in season 5. Blaine gets, like, this mentor type character. That I think was played by Shirley MacLaine.
Yes, Shirley MacLaine.
But it's been so long since I watched Glee, and season 5 is when I just kind of stopped caring.
Because there is a wealthy patroness.
No, there was many reasons, but
I thought of another example.
Where they lost me. Okay.
Fred Astaire played Leslie Caron's love interest in a very creepy movie called Daddy Longlegs, in which this guy meets this young girl at an orphanage and decides, I'm going to pay your education, but I'll stay anonymous. So she writes letters to this anonymous patron.
You lost me at Daddy Longlegs.
She calls him Daddy Longlegs.
Abel Magwitch.
From what?
Great Expectations.
There you go.
Mr. Genie from Rebecca of Stonyfield Farm, which is also another, like, really creepy one.
Rebecca of Stonyfield Farm. You mean Sunnybrook.
Oh, it's Stony-Brook. Sunnybrook? Okay, I don't know where I got that.
His name wasn't Mr. Genie. His name was Mr. Aladdin.
Oh, Mr. Aladdin. Okay, it's been so long since I read that book. And I was old enough that when I read it, the implication at the end that the two of them were going to end up together romantically really skeeved me.
Yeah, that's what happens in Daddy Longlegs, too. It's super gross. It's a worse age difference than Audrey Hepburn and Fred Astaire in Funny Face. It is the worst.
I actually like the actual Daddy Longlegs. Like, I don't like them, but I'll save them if they're in my bathtub. But,
and then
I won't save Fred Astaire if he's in my bathtub.
At the Daddy Longlegs that I'm sure is in my bathtub right now, will you find my web series?
Getting some Charlotte's Web stuff in there.
There we go. I'm waiting
Charlotte's
for a spider web in the
series.
corner of my shower that says yes or no. Yeah, I was going to be like, let's make that, but then I remembered that someone is making that.
Someone made Charlotte's Web series.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Made or is making.
Yeah.
I was about to be like, let's make that.
It's made.
Though remember the other day when I realized that Winnie the Pooh is in the public domain?
I know someone who wants to make a Winnie the Pooh web series.
It'd be so hard. There's a movie coming out that's called, like, Goodbye, Christopher Robin, or something about, like,
Is
that.
it a gritty remake?
Christopher Robin, the actual kid.
It sounds like a gritty remake.
So, it looks really sad. I cried watching the trailer, but I was also really emotional this morning.
So this was the funding episode.
Yeah! Yeah, guys.
This is a funding episode. Good luck finding a wealthy patroness.
Yeah. Here's 3 people who did not get their web series funded telling you how to get your web series funded. And I hope it went exactly how you thought it was going to go. With us ending on talking about Daddy.
We ended up making shows. So.
Oh, God. We made it to 41 minutes, though. So, like. Yep. We made the minimum amount of time.
Including the patrons.
Yeah, I can't cut anything from this episode because I want it to be at least 40 minutes long. So, like...
Everything's going on there.
Oh, God. Yep, everything's going on the air. I'm going to put a disclaimer on this episode that's like, it's not.
Look.
It goes off the rails a lot, guys.
It's okay. Please.
It's all right.
If you want funding advice, this is all we have. Take it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of other resources online about how to get, like, indie films funded and stuff that, you know, are by people who've actually made them and who might be more helpful. But I think what it comes down to it is, you know, do your research, you know, set up a crowdfunding if you want to. You know, look to see where other sources of money, but be prepared to shell out a lot of money out of your own pocket because it's a labor of love. It's not going to be a money-making. I think any web series that has, you know, made any sort of money in crowdfunding, you know, it goes right back into like, the production of the web series. And there's been so many other web series, like, not using names that have raised like over $10,000 in crowdfunding, and there's still no web series. It's still not out because they've run into, I think probably what happens is that they buy a lot of their own equipment, or they have to pay several people to edit because they don't know how to edit themselves. And so it's like, even having all that money or getting your web series funded does not mean you're going to have a fantastic final product or even a final product at all. Again, not shading any particular web series, so I'm sure you guys are thinking of at least one.
But if you do an Indiegogo, make sure you release something. Yes. Or else you could get, like, in trouble.
Yeah, no, you definitely could. Even if it's just, like, you can't finish the project, but you also can't, like, refund the money. I don't really know what the rules on that is, but I'm sure you could probably, like, release all the scripts and put up what footage was filmed and just kind of go for that. Oh, and if you do a crowdfunding, make sure you send out all the prizes that you promised.
Oh, yeah. And no, my tip is don't offer physical perks.
It's true.
Don't do that, because it's a lot of work.
Unless it's an easy physical perk.
I guess, yeah, but, like, in my experience, physical perks have been, like, the hardest to coordinate.
For sure. But I'm kind of thinking if you did a postcard and you didn't promise the entire cast signing it, because I think that's impossible. But if you did something where you're like, okay, we'll have this and we'll sign it. Like, I think for one of our Taj Wash perks, we said we'll send you a physical copy of one of our scripts and then we'll have the people in the episode sign it. And we managed to do that. Because I remember particularly there was one where, like, we had to get we had to get Adrienne, who played Jennifer Lestrade. We had to get her to sign it, and tracking her down was a little bit of hard. But, like, you could do stuff like that. But yeah, anyway. Alright, guys, this has been funding. AKA get yourself a wealthy patron.
Patreon.
I'm done. Good night. It's
bye.
8 p.m. Bye. And bye, listeners. Thanks for listening.